Ladies and gentlemen, the first thing I want to let you know is that we accept your verdicts. The most solemn decision, though, yet lies ahead for you, and that is whether James Egan Holmes lives in obscurity with the sentence of punishment of life without the possibility of parole, or whether he's executed by lethal injection. And you have heard now from the judge, you've heard before, that a sentence of death is never required. A sentence of life is always enough, and the way we get there is by mitigation, and we have talked about that. What you're going to hear in this part of the trial is about Mr. Holmes' mental illness, but now in the context of mitigation. It is no longer that narrow definition of insanity that you had in the first trial. We're talking about mental illness in the context of mitigation, and you all agreed during individual voir dire that somebody could be sane, yet seriously mentally ill. And the specific diagnosis on that schizophrenia spectrum isn't even necessarily the most important thing. What is the most important thing, and what you will hear more about, is that but for his mental illness, this would never have occurred. Now, mitigation is never offered to you. We talked about this in individual voir dire. It's never offered to you as a defense, as a justification, or as an excuse. Mitigation is a fact or circumstance that can be relied upon you individually as a reason to choose life. And it is for each of you individually to look for, to value, to weigh within the context of your own individual moral judgment and within your own mercy. You are also going to hear about Mr. Holmes' life from the beginning, because you are now responsible for that life, and you ought to know everything you can about that life. Some of these witnesses will just give you a very small piece, but we want to make sure that there is no piece of that puzzle that is left blank for you to speculate about, and we want to make sure that you see the agreement on that background and character amongst these witnesses. What you will also see from that evidence is what we've been saying all along, that the only reasonable explanation here is a psychotic break, a broken mind. Now, we are not going to ask you to forgive Mr. Holmes, but we are going to ask for your compassion and your understanding. We're going to ask for your mercy. We are going to ask at the end of this that you find that aggravation does not outweigh mitigation, because all of that aggravation was born of disease, and we don't kill people for being sick. Thank you.